Kobe and Shaq both led by example. You know, so they just went out there and got it done. Now, what I appreciate about Kobe, especially, is he wasn't. You say that I'm not afraid to tell the truth and tell it like it is. He was that way on the floor. You know, people talk about him shooting the ball, not wanting to pass the ball. He would pass the ball, but then if you missed a couple shots when he kicked it out to you, he'd tell your ass, if you don't hit the next one, I ain't passing that shit to you no more. And I don't want to hear your mouth about me not passing the ball. You know, so he put that pressure on you. And either you could take it, or you couldn't. And
I think PJ Tucker was even on it, but they were talking about how it can be difficult to get going as a player when the ball's not in your hands. And so you have those two guys on your team, and then you have the added pressure of Kobe telling it like it is and coming up to you and saying, hey, if you don't make the next shot, I'm not passing it to you. How as a player do you kind of work through that?
Well, one of our assistant coaches, Tex Winter, always told us that, if with all things being equal, you play 20% of the time with the ball in your hand and the other 80% of the time without it in your hand, right? Because only one player can have the ball at a time. There's 5 players on the court. So the other 80% of the things that you're doing are really more important than the 20% that one player has that ball in his hand. So we knew, the triangle offense basically is you got, especially when you have 2 players like Kobe and Shaq, you take them 2 bad motherfuckers and put them over there and put them in a 2-man game. And what you're going to blitz the pick and roll, or you're not gonna go under Kobe. So they got their little thing going. If you take away what they're doing over there, you got 3 dudes on the other side that are capable of hitting the ball, hitting shots when they're open, that have high basketball IQ, and know exactly how to make whatever play needs to be made, at that particular time. So for us, it wasn't a matter of not letting them down. It was easier for us because they get double teamed and triple teamed, and teams are game planning them as opposed to us. So, I miss enough. We have young players on our team now that weren't born when I was playing, and they asked me about my game, and they say, you were a shooter, huh? I say, no, I wasn't a shooter. I just made timely shots. And so playing with Kobe and Shaq and them getting the attention, it's like those dunks that you have on your shoe, right? They might cost $150 for a pair of shoes, right? So you got the sole, you got the upper of the shoe and what have you. That's Kobe and Shaq. They take the brunt of everything. The rest of us were like the shoelace. The shoelace holds that shoe together.
Right.
So without the shoelace, you don't have any support. So we were very good and accepting of we're the support players. Y'all score 65 to 75 points. The rest of us will score, between the 2 of them, the rest of us will score 30 points combined. We'll score 100 and we'll hold teams under 100. And that kind of was our recipe for in the playoffs. And so we were good with that.
Amazing news for us. But how devastating was it when Shaq decided to leave Orlando and come to the Lake Show, baby?
So I was actually out fishing in Orlando with this old man that I used to go fishing with. And I hadn't heard the news. And so while we were out there fishing, he said to me, I think somebody called him or something, and he said, you're about to find out how hot it really is because you lost your shade tree. And I, yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? An old country ass saying,
you
right?
lost your shade tree.
Yeah, he said, y'all just lost your shade tree, so now you're going to see how hot it is. Like, okay, what? And so he's like, yeah, they just said Shaq just signed with the Lakers. So I'm like, for real? So I pull out I think, back then we had the Motorola flip phone or whatever, calling around, and lo and behold, Shaq had signed with the Lakers. So everybody was disappointed. Everybody was, the magic to let somebody like Shaq get away at such a young age for nothing. Got nothing in return for it. I didn't understand what that old man's saying until the following season, because our team was built around Shaq being double teamed, right? We had Nick Anderson, we had Dennis Scott, Penny, myself, and then other 3-point shooters that were basically just played off them double teaming them, us swinging it around in a rotation, and whoever was open knocking down threes. Now all of a sudden, you don't have anybody in that low post getting double teamed. The only one that could go get their own shot was Penny, and then the rest of us were role players, support players, right? The shoelaces,
The shoelaces.
and so now you got shoelace and no shoe, other than Penny. So all those open shots that me and 3D and Nick Anderson and those guys were used to getting disappeared. They dried up. So now, they pressing up on us. And like I say, Penny was the only one that could really go get his.
Yeah.
So then I remember thinking back, I was like, oh, okay, now I understand what that old man was saying. The shade tree is gone. Tree's hot as a motherfucker right now.
It's sunny out here.
No shade now.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
You were traded to the Lakers in February of 2008.
That's right.
So what was, I know we talked about it a little bit, what was that like, coming to LA?
Yeah, it was. From Memphis to
Yeah.
LA, it was a big shock. We definitely just everything just kind of clicked. I didn't expect to play that much right away. It was Andrew was hurt at the time. I think Trevor was hurt at the time, but there was that sense of urgency that, again, like that Kobe told me and shared with me right away as soon as I landed in DC past 1 a.m. in the morning. He was very intentional as far as like, hey, you're not getting a feel here for the first. You don't have 2 weeks to adjust here. We're not here just to try to make the playoffs. Yeah. As soon as I got to the team, hey, welcome, but we're winning. You're here to help us win a championship. This was playing with the Lakers. This was playing with a great set of teammates that were ready. Timing is everything in life and in this league. And teams and franchises go through ups and downs. But this team, it did feel from everyone that was kind of like that missing piece that fit perfectly into that team, and that I could elevate that team. So I had to do everything that I could in my power to take advantage of that opportunity. And again, Kobe set the tone. My teammates embraced me from the very beginning. Phil played obviously a significant role as far as his presence and leadership and mentorship. And then the city also embraced me in a huge way. So I gave it my all, and it paid off. Yeah.
What made the Lakers so dominant in those following years and winning those back-to-back championships? What about, what behind the scenes went on that?
I think the love that we all have for each other,
the camaraderie in the locker room.
We had a guy like Lamar Odom, one of the most versatile players that ever played the game. And he was coming off the bench. Yeah. Which I know that for him, he was a player that could have started in any team in the league and score and have bigger numbers and have more individual recognitions, but he made sacrifices. We all kind of had to make sacrifices in a way that we understood that was the best for the team. And then when Lamar would come off the bench and he would come in and give us a spark, and then we would always pretty much finish games together. Right? Yep. So it wasn't so much, again, the importance of starting, not starting. It's about finishing games when the games are on the line, who's on the floor. Yeah. Everybody kind of, again, fulfilled a role, and everybody bought in and said, hey, we're recognizing that we have a unique opportunity here to do something special. Yeah. So everybody played his role, and everybody embraced it, even though it wasn't easy at times. We all did what was best for the team.
Do you think that kind of came from Phil, or was that just like a collective, like everyone is on the same, like Kobe maybe, like how are you guys all able to buy in? Because we know there's a lot of egos, at least in today's game. I'm sure there were back then.
Not to just ride his coattail, but I think when you join the Lakers and you're on the team with Kobe Bryant, like if you're not, I think your ego probably should go out the window. Like if you were on the leading scorer on the team, and you know you're about to join the team with Kobe Bryant, at least you know you're not going to be the leading scorer on the team. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean? So like you just gotta. There was no egos. We got a whole bunch of guys that put their egos to the side.
Yeah, same thing. Because like for me, I was scoring more in Memphis. Right. But I understood, obviously I didn't know. And the media was like, oh, who's going to be the top scoring guy, or who's going to be? I'm like, I'm not trying to be the top scoring guy here. This guy is one of a kind. I'm just going to try to complement him and the rest of the guys. And so by me not having to use as much energy on offense, I knew I could direct it on defense. And I became a better defender. I became a better shot blocker. I became a better rebounder. I became a better passer. So that was the things. Is don't focus on where you're kind of giving up. Focus on where you can give more of.
Right.
And that's what I think that's where we all kind of try to focus on, and that translated into wins. Which at the end of the day, ultimately, winning is what justifies it all.
Right.